Hey, what's up? My name is Chris, and I hope you're doing well today. My plan was to record a live stream this morning, but OBS decided not to cooperate, so I'm just going to record this as if it was a live stream and let you watch it out of time. Now you can see that we're going to be working on a challenge site, and if you've watched my live streams in the past, you know that kind of the whole point of the live stream for me is just to code straight without thinking about it ahead of time or planning ahead of time. And that does two things. Number one, you get to kind of see my process as I go. And number two, I get to test what I actually know and what I have to study to tell you. And really, this channel has been about me learning and learning through teaching. And so I found no better way to test that knowledge than to have to do something live and see whether or not I can do it. So that's kind of the point of this. Now, I mentioned this is Web Dev Daily. This is a new challenge site, and it's actually a guy who is on YouTube as well. This is this channel right here, John I don't know how to say his last name, sorry John, but you can see that he's got a bunch of videos mostly on Vue and has a lot of really great tutorials. It always cracks me up when I show somebody a channel on my Coding in Public profile because I never watched anything here. I always watch it on my personal profile, so it looks like I've never watched anything of his, but he does have some great stuff, and so I'd encourage you to go check his out, and I'll have a link to his account in the description. Now, Web Dev Daily itself, you basically get different challenges each day that you can sign up for and take, and then you can submit your project. So I just figured I would do the one for today. So it's a pretty simple password component, like a forgot password reset, but figured I would just do that since it's the one for today. Now, if I come over here, you can see here's what it looks like, the actual editor. There's a couple things you can do. Number one, you can come in here and change like the font size or whatever. So I'll go ahead and do that, bump it up a bit just to make it easier to watch. And then he's got this set up with Tailwind by default, so you can use Tailwind, or you can delete this and use just vanilla CSS if you want to as well. That's just fine. Now over here in the JavaScript is where you write anything and it should just work automatically. As you save, it will live reload over here. And then the actual like picture you're trying to create is down here. So if you click this, it toggles back and forth between the picture and between whatever you've been coding. I'd love for there to be like a keyboard shortcut to do this, so I don't have to click this manually, because ain't no way I'm going to be wanting to come down here and click this all the time, but that's okay. The only other thing that would be kind of cool is if there was some kind of slider, so you could see like half of yours and half of the actual image you're supposed to create. But anyhow, all that to say, this is what we're creating here, and I think it's a really cool little site. When you're done, you just publish it, and it will send it up, and then it becomes one of the submissions that anybody can look at. And like if I come back over this way, let's see, like if I click on, I don't know, this one right here, you should be able to see anybody who submitted it down this way. So that's what we're going to do is submit it, and then you can look at my code on the actual Web Dev Daily site. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and just start working on this. So I'm going to get rid of all of this right here, and let's think through what we need. So we've got this little component right here, obviously. We've also got this section right here. So I think what I'm going to do, since he doesn't have a mobile version, we're just going to kind of create our own. I think I'm going to make this position absolute, since this needs to be in the very center of the page, it looks like. And that way this can kind of be pulled out of the flow and just be set right this way. Let's see. The other thing is, this will probably be a grid container since they can all be stacked, and I can use the parent to space these things out. And so that's what we'll do for this section as well. All right, I think other than that, we're just going to kind of get started. So let me come in here, and probably I should have a main tag. And for right now, let's see, I don't know if I should style this as I go or just put the content in and come back later with styling through Tailwind. Let's go ahead and start to at least do some basic styling. So we'll come in here with a class, and this will eventually be a grid with place items center, and this will put everything in the very center. In fact, yeah, that should work because there's just going to be really one component. This also needs to be relative so that I can position this absolute. So let's go ahead and do that next. So this paragraph tag, and I guess what we should do is paragraph that is absolute. And with Tailwind, if you haven't used it before, these are utility classes. Each class essentially corresponds to one CSS property. So the nice thing there is that you can literally create anything you want. You don't have to switch back and forth between CSS. You can just start typing. I do find it faster, but not like crazy faster. I think the main benefit is that you can pick up any project at any time in the future, or anybody else can pick up a project because these don't really change that much. And so you can very quickly get a sense of what's going on, and you don't have to worry about like, am I overwriting styles that somebody else has used? So I think Tailwind on Twitter ends up being very controversial. I don't know that people care that much, but you know, use it if you like it. If you don't, that's fine. All right, let's position this absolute, and I'm going to set this top like, I don't know, maybe 4 off the top, something like that. And then we'll need to do left of 1/2. This will set it halfway across to start with. In fact, if I save this, and I guess we should probably also come in here and say you don't have an account, and then close this off and say sign up. All right, so now if I toggle back and forth, you can see that it's right in the middle, just like I mentioned. So we'll have to translate X this, and we'll go back 1/2. So if I go negative translate like this, that should pull it back right to the middle. So that works just fine. We also probably want some padding on this entire area. So if I do like background blue 400 or something, you can see, assuming that it actually saves, background blue. Isn't this like slate 400? Huh. It's not showing for some reason. But anyhow, I was trying to show the background here. Can I just do like an arbitrary value? Or maybe this thing is broken right now. Let's try. All right. Well, either way, what I was going to say is we probably want some padding around the entire thing. So maybe we, on like normal sizes, that like mobile devices, will have a padding of 4. And on small screens and up, we'll have a padding of 8. All right. So the next thing we need to do is make sure we get this color right. And I'm not sure what color that should be, but I should be able to come in here and pick this color. And let's just set it as an arbitrary color here. So we'll say href. This will point to nothing for now. And then, yeah, let's set this class and we'll say text this arbitrary value like that. All right, let's see if it's working. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm not sure what was going on with the background color. Maybe I just typed the wrong class. Okay, so the next little section here, let's see how much we can get this right without looking. So that'll kind of be my challenge here. And we're going to have to guess on these spacings because it's just an image anyhow. But let's have this all inside of a div with a grid, like I mentioned. And for now, we're going to do something like gap of maybe 6. And I don't exactly remember what this is. I think that's like a rem and a half. Maybe it should be more like gap 8 because it should be this spacing and this spacing that we're worried about. This will kind of be its group, this will be a group, and this will be a group. So there'll be 3 groups with 2 basic spacings here. And I think gap 8 seems about right. So I guess we'll see when we get there. I guess we could also place items center here. Items center, because that should center all these things, like this back to site in and all that. We could also text center all this as well, since it seems like everything will be right in the center here. For all this text, except for that, I guess. So maybe we shouldn't do that. We can do that individually on those items. Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, so next, I'm assuming this is like a page onto itself. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to grab this text right here. I have an OCR thing. So assuming that that captured it, yeah, there we go. And we'll do the same thing. Oops. Again, right here. So let me capture this. All right, and this is something that OCR thing is just something called, what is it called? I don't know. It's like a screenshot tool that you can also OCR with. If I think of it, I'll say it. But so we've got these things here. This, like I mentioned, these will also be in their own little section here. So let's have this be in a grid with a gap of like maybe 4. Maybe not even that. Let's do like a gap of 2 maybe. And that'll space those things out. The other thing is let's also pick this color, and we're going to be kind of guessing something like that because this needs to be class of text. And then again, we'll do an arbitrary value. In Tailwind, you have all these classes that are set up, but you can a lot of times do arbitrary values like this. Now, obviously, this isn't super sustainable because eventually, you're not going to be able to just do this all over, because if you do, you can't change this without going and finding all these. So usually you use like a Tailwind config and set up your own color classes. But since we're just doing everything in a single HTML file, we don't have access to that. Let's see. Anything else I need to do here? Looks like maybe this is like a slight gray color. So let's pick this again. And I'm just using Raycast, which is like a shortcut launcher, but it also has a bunch of extensions, one of which you can grab colors like this. So that's what we're going to do. So class, we'll say text, and once again, we're going to use an arbitrary value like that. Okay, so we've got this kind of top section done, and It should also say text center just to keep everything in the center here, center aligned. The next section down here will be a form. So yeah, like this, and then we'll have an action. Actually, I don't need an action, but I will do an ID here of like reset password, something like that. And then inside here, we're going to have a label. This will point to email, and this will say email address. And we're going to steal this right here and add this here because it looks like it's about the same color. This will also be font bold, and I think that's good. I should also, now that I think about this, make this a little bit larger. So let's do like 2XL for that, which will make it a larger font size. All right, because I'm trying not to look at it ahead of time, we're going to see how close we can get. I'm just going to leave that where it stands. All right, so this will be an input with the type of email, and hopefully I'm getting kind of right on this. We'll have an ID of email so that the label and the input point to each other, and I'll also have a name of email here as well, just to make sure that I can capture this using like the form data attribute or API if I want to. Let's see. Now we've got this class, and I'm going to need a border, probably of 2. And then we'll do border. Let's choose this right here. So we'll do the same thing. Use that arbitrary value. It looks like it's slightly rounded, so let's use the rounded class, which will apply slight rounding to it. And then I've also got a placeholder. Let's see, right here. Let's do placeholder. Placeholder. And this should say my email at address.com. Okay, so I think we did all that okay. I probably should close that off. We'll see if I did it right. Oops, if I did it okay or not. Okay, so down this way, we'll have next a button. And this form and the button should once again be in a grid. And let's just do the same gap here of like 2. I feel like it might need to be a little bit more than that, but to be consistent in spacing between this and this, which would be my default, that's what I'm going to do. All right, and then we'll come in here. And down here is request. So let's have a button. So here's what we should do. This should be inside here because I want this to be a button inside the form so it submits the form. So let's move this up and we'll have this thing like this. And then this will be in its own little div. And then I'll close this off. Okay. So what we've done here, if I can get over this way, is basically set these two things in a div. There's no spacing really between them, so I'm just going to leave them just like this. So this will be the top section and the bottom section of the form here, which will be gapped by 2 once again. Which again doesn't quite seem enough, but will be this button itself. This needs to be a type of submit, although that should be the default since it's in a form, but I'll go ahead and just add that to make sure it's clear. And then we'll say request reset link. And now let's add some classes. So I know this is going to have the same picked color that I used earlier, which I think is right here. So let's go ahead and grab this, and we're going to say background of that. We're going to also have padding of maybe as much as 4 up and down. We are going to need to set some widths on these things as well, I'm pretty sure. So maybe I should come over here and set this to width full. So we'll take out the full width. And then I'm going to do the same thing here with full. That also means that this whole section, where I've got my actual section right here, this should probably have a max width on it. So we'll do max width. Oh, man, I don't know what this is going to be. Let's say small, which I think is like 320. That seems about right. And that way this will stretch the full width kind of no matter what next to each other. We'll also have text center on the button. And let's see, text of probably white would be my guess. And then this says request reset link. I think that'll be about right. We'll also have a ring 4 on this when it's focused. Or focus visible, or let's just say focused. So whenever you focus on it, it should have that ring that kind of goes around it. And focus, or we'll have ring, and then that color, I'm assuming we'll just use the same one here. Let's also have a ring offset of 2, which sets that ring around it. Again, this is kind of hard to show you since I'm not showing you what I'm doing until we're done. So hopefully you have a familiarity with Tailwind, or maybe this isn't super helpful to see, but I figured it'd be nice to kind of test to see if I could do it without looking. Okay, finally we've got this section down here below the form. And yeah, like this. And that will be this link that says back. Well, we'll just point this to nowhere for now, but we'll say back to sign in. And I'm assuming this needs to go to like a sign in link or whatever, but let's have a class and let's steal our color. Right. See, did you forget? How about this one? This gray color. We'll use the same one here. Oops, like that. And then we'll make sure it's underlined. And then I'll do text center. I don't think I need to do with full. I guess I could just do like, well, it's a grid child. So yeah, text center should work and should put that in the middle. Okay, I think that's mostly it. Now, right now this is left. The only other thing I want to do is once I get to maybe small screen sizes, I want to set this to left of auto, translate X 0, I guess, and then we'll do right 4. I think this will work. All right. And again, this needs to be small, and this needs to be small. So let's see how close we got, and then we'll fix it. So I'm gonna go ahead and save it, and then jump over here. Not really that close. Okay. So this needs to be a couple things that need to change, like right here. This needs to be a height, min height of screen, and that should put this in the middle. I thought I had rounding on this button. Maybe I forgot to put it on the button. So we'll say rounded as well here. I never put any kind of padding on this. So this needs to be like padding 4, something like that. This spacing isn't really right either. And I maybe didn't even put spacing here. Gap 2, man, that's not anywhere near enough. Let's do more like gap 4. Maybe I also come in here and change this to medium to make it a little bit wider. And this probably needs to be text like 3XL maybe. All right, so that's closer. Looks like maybe I could do padding of like 2 here. How about padding 3? And those look to be about the same size, so I should probably, I keep trying to scroll sideways. I should probably do the same thing here, padding 3, make that about the same size. Let's see, the other thing is this form probably needs to be 100%. So class would be width full, and that will stretch it, which means all the children will stretch as well. And then maybe I can also bump this down. Let's just set this to like an arbitrary value of 300 pixels, which I don't remember how small it is. So 350, 360. We're going to get there. Come on. Snap out. 380, 390, 400. Okay, it's got to be 420. 420, 430. There we go. All right, something like that. I'm not sure that's the best thing I've ever done in my life, but now maybe we set this max width to small as well. It looked a little bit more like that, I think. And that's fairly close. Now, these colors aren't perfect, and again, the spacing may not be totally perfect, but that's at least in the kind of the right direction. Well, anyhow, hopefully that was helpful for you. I can come in here, and when I select on this, you see that ring that now shows up. Let's do something similar here. So when we select this, when we focus on it, we're going to set the outline color, and we'll just paste that in there. So, oops, outline color to that. Not sure that worked. Focus outline color. I thought you could change the outline. I think maybe it's like that in Tailwind. Oh, so that's the same color. That's not going to be helpful. Let's grab this right here. And again, come over here and add this in. Okay, so now you get that, at least branded kind of color. Should probably also do the same thing on here. So let's have a ring as well. Maybe I can just grab a lot of this. So let's grab this and this. Whoa. I'm not a huge fan of these web browser things, mostly because they just throw me off and slow me down a little bit. But it's nice to be able to submit it for other people to see. So now I can come in here and tab to all these things, and you can see like that. Let's change around a couple things though. Let's say focus should be outline transparent, and then we'll do rounded, and let's also do padding of like 2. Maybe we do padding Y of 2 and padding X of 4. I'll save that, and now we get this nice ringed effect. When I come in here, I should probably also have some kind of hover state. So I could do a hover, let's do opacity, like, I don't know, 80%. Actually, let's just change the text. So let's change the text to the same as this color. All right, so now if I come in here, I should change to that. Let's have some kind of transition on here though. So let's say transition, opacity, or what was that? Color. Transition colors, I think is what you do for Tailwind. Now it'll kind of slide in and out. I like that. The button probably needs something similar. So let's come in here and maybe, let's say transition opacity, and then we'll say on hover, let's set the opacity to like 80 or something. There we go, and you get a nice little transition as well. Okay, so I think that's mostly everything we probably need to do. That looks fine. So you can tab to stuff, you get the accessibility of all that, you get nice UI as well if you're cited. Maybe let's just do something with the JavaScript while we're at it. So I'm going to do a submit event on the entire form. Should probably also make this required, right? So let's say required. And that way, if I come in here and I try to submit this, it's going to say I have to fill this out. Let's grab the ID of password reset. I'm assuming if I just come over here, we'll do like form or something. Document.query selector. I should be able to just grab this, right? And let's say form.add event listener. We're going to listen for the submit, which will capture either submitting it with the enter key or clicking here. And then let's go ahead and grab the event. We'll just do this all inline and say e.prevent default. And then we'll say, how about like alert? You clicked or something. Okay, so let's see if this works. I'm assuming all this is hooked up already. So if I come in here and add like email at email.com and click this, yeah, okay. So it's already set up and ready to go. Looks like, yeah, I think that's all fine. I'm sure there's a little detail there I forgot as far as the design, but I think that should work. Let's go ahead and do something cool. Let's say, let's grab the form data itself. So you can do this in a couple different ways, but let's say const data equals new form data, and then we'll pass it the e.target, or you can pass it the form, which is this right here. That's all we're passing it. And that should give us basically like a API response that will include every single thing by default in the form. So I can grab the email from the data.get, and then I'm going to pass the name of email. So what we've done is, if I come back over here, we're grabbing this right here. We're saying, hey, anything with the name property of email that's on my form data, so any of the submitted events, go ahead and give me that. And then let's go ahead and come in here and console.log the email. And I'm assuming there's like some kind of console that it should pull in here maybe. So we'll do email, email.com, and then click that. Okay, so yeah, it does submit it down this way. So that's good to know. Let's come in here then and let's do like a check. We'll say like if email, and this is a string, right? So we should be able to use the .includes method. And we'll say if it includes like, I don't know, Chris. Why not? Then, let's see, if email includes Chris. Okay, then we're going to come in here and let's like throw confetti or something. And then we'll also say, your name is Chris or something. All right. So let's see. Isn't there like a JS confetti library or something? I think I've done a video like a long time ago on this. Yeah. Okay. So let's grab this and we're just going to pop this bad boy in over here. And that way we've got access to this. And then isn't there, let's see, import JS confetti, add confetti. Oh yeah, we're definitely doing emojis. All right, let's do that. So let's come inside here. We'll import this new confetti. Then what we're going to do is come in here and add this and add some emojis. Let's see, let's just grab all that. Okay, so let's see if this works. So if I say something like Chris at, oh, is this not, oh, it's not an import. Oh, well, you know what? I don't, yeah. Can I do this? If it's already on the page, I guess I don't have to import it, right? Because it should be, I think that script tag puts it on. Let's see if this works. At email.com. Your name is Chris. Oh, look at that. Now, I think this sends us like a promise. So I should be able to, let's just async. And can we await this? And once that's done, then do it. So Chris at email.com. Yeah, and then when it's done, then it's going to say your name is Chris. I mean, that seems like a nice surprise for anybody watching this. All right, so there we go. That's the project done, and a little extra pizzazz put on top of it. So now you should be able to come in here, and if you do like email something else.com and you request a link, nothing happens because your name's not Chris. Maybe we should say like submitted or something like that. And I guess we could also put this in backticks. And you should receive an email or success, or I don't know, something stupid. You should receive an email at, and then we'll just grab that template literal string at email. And we could say, yo, your name is Chris. All right, so if this is true, this will happen, and then it should still fire this as well. So there's probably better ways to handle that, but we're just having fun. So let's see, email at email.com. Should say you should have received an email at email.com. Let's say Chris at email.com. And do I get 2 alerts in a row? Your name is Chris. You should receive an email. Okay. Yeah, that works. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and call that good. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Let me go ahead and publish it. I've never done this before, so we'll see what happens. I can copy the link. Look at that. I'm going to add this to the description. Go to profile. So there you go. Submitted. Is this mine right here? Why do I have 2? Huh. Not sure. But anyhow, you can check that out. I'll probably add my profile image here as well. But hopefully you enjoyed this. And if you're into these kinds of challenges, I think they're really helpful, especially when you're first learning CSS and HTML and even JavaScript, kind of depending on what it is. Although once it gets too big, like some of these, honestly, I would probably just pull out into my code editor. I'm not going to do this in browser. I think that would drive me insane. But a lot of these smaller ones I think are great for testing your skills. So anyhow, hopefully you enjoyed that, and I will catch you in the next one. Sorry again, I couldn't do it live, but hopefully you still enjoyed it. All right, thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Happy coding.